Oh, hello, hello, and welcome to Women's Wisdom Wednesdays, where we come together every Wednesday to empower women just like you, foster connections, and thrive on our journey of surviving womanhood. I'm Kasey Conrad, well-being specialist and whole life coach, and my lovely co-host.
Hi, I'm Bianca Cartin. I'm a business and mindset coach.
Thank you. Today we have a very special guest joining us. Her name is Shilpa, and she has an incredible story to share. But before we introduce her, let's take a moment to address our audience. We want to remind you all to visit our website at www.survivingwomanhood.com, where you can find valuable resources, connect with other women, and stay updated on our upcoming episodes, webinars, retreats, and workshops. We'd also like to encourage you all to actively participate by asking questions and adding comments below. And if you have a story to share, we would love to hear it. This is a safe space for us to learn and grow together. We'd also like to ask you to share your favorite episodes. You never know who out there might need to hear these inspiring stories. Now, let's meet Shilpa. Shilpa's story is a testament to strength and perseverance. She's a clinical instructor at a well-known health facility in Abu Dhabi. Her sense of adventure brought her to Abu Dhabi from Australia in 2014, where she was employed as a microbiology scientist in the then newly built facility. In 2017, Shilpa was appointed to the position of clinical instructor, where she was co-responsible for developing, organizing, and facilitating the laboratory graduate internship program. She's started collaborating with the point of care testing team in 2019, focusing on education and training. Shilpa has been on a lifelong journey with Reiki, and as a Reiki practitioner and Reiki master, she wants everyone to know she's deeply grateful for having the chance to learn and experience through this wonderful energy healing modality. So what we're going to talk about today with Shilpa is, amidst the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, Shilpa, alongside the majority of laboratory and research personnel, were called upon to support patient care. The hospital wards were inundated with severely ill COVID patients, necessitating additional assistance from diverse professional background. So Shilpa, is there anything that I've left out that you'd like to add?
Just one more thing, Kasey. I just want everyone to know that Kasey Conrad, this amazing, wonderful, beautiful woman, is my Reiki teacher. So thank you so much for teaching me. Honestly, you're wonderful. I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. So we're so privileged to have you here today, and we're sure that your journey, Shilpa, is going to serve as an inspiration to many, because we know there are so many, literally millions of healthcare workers out there who were in the trenches during that initial COVID pandemic in 2020, and would love to hear your story and to hear their story through yours. So let's begin with question number one. Can you share some of the challenges you've encountered during this journey, being in this hospital setting during this initial COVID outbreak, and how you've managed to find strength to endure through your concerns and challenges since you finally come to this place 3 years out?
Wow, it's been 3 years already. It's been a long time.
Crazy,
It's
right?
like Exactly. You think about it, you had the Jurassic period, the Edo period, and then there was a COVID period for 3 years. Um, wow, it was surreal. It was challenging. It was interesting, and I learned a lot. So, speaking of challenges, the first and foremost challenge was uncertainty. We really didn't know what was going on, what was happening, where we were going, where we were coming. Um, there was also the ever-changing rules that we had to follow and keep up with, which was hard, but we did it. Where thanks to the COVID-19 task force updating us constantly and continuously. So it was really good within the hospital setting. I must say the third challenge was, of course, shortage of materials. We did have shortage of the KN95 masks, so we had to improvise. We had to think about, okay, who needs this mask? Obviously, caregivers or healthcare professionals that are in direct contact with the patient to provide, proper patient care. So the safety and the quality is maintained for everyone. So the rest of us who were helping hands, who were supporting in the background, wore the normal face masks or surgical masks, and we sort of stepped in and helped out as much as we could. And last but not the least, shortage of staff. Of course, we had staff that were obviously not well, that fell sick, that went on emergency leave or annual leave, and then they were stuck where they were because the borders were shut. So there was a huge shortage of staff in the hospital. Plus, we had staff essentially being burnt out, having a lot of fatigue, um, stress, anxiety, depression, and uh, it was tough. It was very tough. And amidst through all of that, we had to find the strength we had in us, the self-motivation, the inner strength in us to band together, to learn new skills, and to help out our team in any way we could. So in my case, being a clinical instructor for point of care testing entails that I have to ensure that almost all of the 1,300 nurses, 1,200 nurses that I've got, my end users, including my super users, are all recertified. Their skills are revalidated. So they're competent enough to carry out the patient testing. So indirectly, obviously, the patient care is maintained. Um, that came to a standstill during a couple of months because we all were called upon to get trained on how to swab, to get trained on how to don and doff, and to help out as much as we could in the tents that were set up or in COVID clinics. And we were like, you know what? Teach us, let's upskill us, and we'll help you guys out. Let's do it. Let's work as a team. Let's come together as a family, and let's fight this. Let's do our best and take care of our patients and take care of each other amidst these tough times. And truly, when I say I learned from this challenging times, tough times, we really learned a lot from each other, from the patients that we supported and took care of, and other caregivers from different disciplines, not just clinical caregivers, but non-clinical caregivers as well. So I must, you know, send my deepest gratitude to all of them because without teamwork, none of this would happen. It truly takes a village. And I saw that happen in the hospital, and I'm so proud of each and every one of them. So I just want to thank everyone for doing the best and helping each other out.
That's amazing. Can you share with us some of the ways that you all supported one another during that
Uh,
time?
yes. So obviously, we first kickstarted by training together and helping each other out in different disciplines as much as we could. And of course, um, the I should say, out of training or out of work hours, we essentially banded together and started talking about, hey, we're seeing a lot of stress, a lot of burnout. a lot of fatigue, anxiety, depression. What can we do for that? What is it that we can do for that? Well, how can we support each other and our own self through all of these challenging times? Because people went through a myriad of emotions through all of this because you're locked in, you're working long hours, you can't take leave to go visit your families, everything is locked down, borders are shut. um, you've got to band together and you've got to help each other out any way you can, be it physically, emotionally, mentally, or spiritually. This has to happen. And it did. So we spoke amongst ourselves. And I think, Kasey, do you remember before COVID hit, you came around to the hospital, and we had that wonderful meeting with the caregiver wellbeing team and my management team. And this was just to discuss about how we can start giving Reiki or Reiki program for our
Mhm.
caregivers as a part of
Yes.
caregiver wellbeing initiative. Do you
Mhm.
remember that? That was a
I do
fantastic
remember that
conversation.
very well. Yes. Yes.
That was a fantastic conversation, and we went around giving Reiki while having a conversation to the
Yes. Yeah.
wellbeing team and management team. And I
Mhm.
was like, you were so cool. You were like, yeah, you know what, Shilpa, just you take one side, I take the other side, and we go around, like a merry-go-round, and we give Reiki. And it was fabulous because we got great feedback from them,
Yes.
even in the midst of having this meeting and giving Reiki at the same time.
Yeah.
It was
Yes.
fabulous. It
Yeah.
was
I think
fabulous.
they were a little surprised about that, but they enjoyed it very much, didn't
They
they?
did. They did. They did. And after that, of course, COVID happened. So this came to a halt because of the rules of maintaining distance. We couldn't essentially do hands-on uh, healing in terms of giving hands-on Reiki. However, coming back to the conversation we just had, uh, there were a couple of the Reiki practitioners in the hospital that got together with me, and we kind of decided, you know what, let's just talk to the caregiver wellbeing team and leadership team and see what we can do for our caregivers. And we were told, you know what, listen, as long as you can keep your distance and you follow the protocol of wearing masks and gloves, you can give Reiki. We don't see
That's
why
wonderful.
not. We don't see why not.
Mhm.
So we did that. We essentially did our daily duties. And then after the end of our duties, we stayed back for an hour, hour and a half, and we then sent out a communication via caregiver wellbeing team that, hey, we're going to carry out Reiki. This is what Reiki is. It's a beautiful energy healing modality. As you know, it's safe, simple, non-invasive, does no harm, easy to use, no dogma, no religious beliefs. And the intention is to create deep relaxation and help speed healing, reduce anxiety and stress and nausea. It restore balance in your body, enhance your optimal well-being. And people got curious. The caregivers got curious. And they said, you know what? Yeah, we'll try. So we established a WhatsApp group for caregiver well-being in the hospital. And we got a lot of responses to the WhatsApp group saying, hey, you know what, guys? We're interested. So where are you doing this? And for how long? And how many caregivers can do this? So to begin with, there were four of us practitioners. So 20 minutes, as per literature, 20 minutes is the minimum time. So we said, okay, if we have a lot of caregivers coming, there's four of us practitioners, and we're going to do this for an hour and a half, each practitioner could take probably 3 or 4 caregivers and do 20 minutes. So we essentially did 12 to 16 caregivers in that time slot, and we got some great feedback.
That's amazing.
The, it was fantastic. It was just a very fulfilling experience for us as practitioners
So
to
I
help
guess
out as
that
much
that
as we
meeting
can.
that we had with the well-being team was very timely.
Very timely, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. It was. And those guys have been fantastic because they are supporting me even now. Till
Mm.
now, they've been the greatest advocate and support after the conversation we had with them and after experiencing Reiki. They have been the greatest advocate and support of this wonderful complementary therapy, and they're supporting me till now. So I really have to express my deepest gratitude to them as well.
Mm,
And you know, kickstarting Reiki was quite uh, wonderful, but challenging logistically because we were wondering now, where are we going to hold this? Because we don't have space. And we thought, okay, we have a huge caregiver lounge in one of the departments, and it's just serene. The environment literally is serene. It's got mood lighting in there. You can have your Bluetooth speaker, you can have your Reiki music or meditation music playing, and it's quiet. So
nice.
towards the end of the day, we're talking about 5:30 in the evening to about 6:37 in the evening, it quietens down. There's no hustle and bustle. It quietens down. So we essentially conducted our Reiki sessions there, and we got some lovely bean bags in there, had some comfy chairs in there. We got stretchers, we got pillows, we got heated blankets, and we
Nice.
got some screens for privacy. And
That's fantastic.
we gave Reiki to both male and female caregivers, and it was fabulous.
That's
It was
lovely.
fab-
That's really lovely. Thank you so much.
no,
Bianca?
you're very welcome.
Yeah. So obviously, Reiki has been a very important part of your process while you've gone through this journey in the last 3 years. Well, how did you? What other strategies did you use? What other practices helped you during this time when you were transitioning and going through this very tough and challenging time with COVID?
So, besides Reiki, what helped me personally is meditation and breath work. Um, because we forget to breathe sometimes when we are trying to get so many things done. And during that time, with so many challenges around us and uncertainty around us, I had to keep on breathing. We had to remind each other, breathe, girl, breathe. Just breathe. Take a deep breath, do some box breathing. You'll be fine. You'll get through this. So, breathing and meditation. Meditation for me doesn't necessarily mean just sitting in a quiet room with the music on and closing my eyes. It could mean that I just want to take a step outside in a fresh air and sunshine and just walk along in a patch of grass, looking out onto the sea, looking out onto the ocean, and just taking a deep breath, looking at the birds, looking at the trees, and just being mesmerized by it, losing myself in that moment for 5 to 10 minutes. To me, that is meditation as well. And that helped a lot as well. Just taking that moment, taking that time. And another thing, two things that are quite important to me is eating habits. So healthy eating, eating properly, eating well, eating a well balanced meal, a nutrient dense meal, bioavailable, biodigestible meal, and exercise. Movement is life. You have to work out. It could be in the gym, it could be outside, cycling, walking, brisk walking, swimming. It could be anything, but moving your body is essential. And that just helps you on that physical level to have that, I must say, that endurance, that stamina to get through anything. So it's a combination of having that physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual well being, that holistic approach is what helped me get through these tough times.
Wow, that's amazing. I'm sure our audience is already very inspired, and I want to invite them to sort of engage with us in the comments, leave some questions if they have any. Some people may never heard of Reiki before. If you've got questions about this, please leave some comments. And my second question is, while we're talking about women and what they, if women was on a similar path to you, who are going through a challenging time, particularly like in their professional lives, what kind of advice would you give them if they were in a very stressful environment like yourself and are having to navigate those challenges?
Never ever give up. Never ever give up. Push through the cracks, push through the the negativity, push through people saying, no, you can't do this. Push through people saying, no, it's not possible. Come what may, never ever give up. Just keep pushing through. You know your purpose, you know your goal, you know what makes you happy. Pursue that. Pursue your passion. So three things that I firmly believe in is passion, persistence, and patience. And that will get you through anything in life.
Love that. 3 Ps.
Three P.
And how is your journey and this experience you've had during the process with COVID and with setting up this group, nurturing group with Reiki? How has it impacted your perspective on life and the importance of self-care?
Life is too short, Bianca. So I've experienced that personally on personal level. So life's too short. So you have to grab the bull by its horns and you just gotta pull it. And you gotta live your best life and not live in regret. And what I learned from these tough times is you gotta give it your all. You got passion, you pursue it. You gotta love yourself through everything. And you gotta keep reminding that you're worth it and what you're doing is worth it and you're adding value. And and how do you know that you're adding value? It's the outcome of it that you see. It's when a caregiver comes to you and says to you, hey, I enjoyed that session. You know, I was anxious before. I was uh, having, these bad feelings and I was distressed. But after a couple of sessions with you, I feel calm. I feel relaxed. I feel that I can do this, that I got this. And that is so humbling. And that is so fulfilling that Reiki is my ikigai. It's my reason for being, my purpose. So if I can push through anything and make sure that my caregivers or my colleagues can receive this wonderful, energy healing modality and it can help them in some way, then I'm going to push through um, any cracks and just keep going and keep pursuing. So um, through all of this, what I learned is just pursue your passion and love what you do and enjoy while doing it. Have fun because you're going to learn a lot, whether it's a good experience or not.
Oh, amazing. Yes. Yes, yes.
We love that. We love that. So we'll do the replay on that over and over, right? We'll put it on a loop, maybe. So,
Oh, good Lord.
So Shilpa, I just want to summarize a little bit, bullet point some of the things that you've said. But before I do that, actually, I'd like to ask you, what is it like now? Like, how have things changed in the hospital and for you now that you've come through this experience of the pandemic? How much of that has stayed with you and how much of that guides your practices now?
So that's a good question, Kasey, because during pandemic, as I said to you, that we couldn't do hands-on Reiki. But however, as it started to get better, the situation started to get better, and the rules started to ease. Gloves came off, masks came off, and we could do hands-on Reiki. However, during the tough times, I must give a shout out to two people, Mary and Don Einen from Tosic Cancer Institute. And essentially, what I learned from them is two things: virtual Reiki, so how I can do it online, or guided in-person Reiki, but keeping your distance. And those were the new skills I learned from them. And I did incorporate those skills. And that seemed to have helped a few people as well when they were physically not present in the hospital. And when they were away on leave, when we had a seminar, before we kickstarted the seminar, I did a 10 minutes, or I think 10 minutes of virtual Reiki session, and I received some good feedback on that as well. So with tough times, we essentially improvise and come up with new skills, develop new skills to keep the ball rolling. So I just wanted to touch base on that. However, looking at it now in the present moment, the caregiver wellbeing team is like absolutely behind, this wonderful energy healing modality. And I essentially have now started giving Reiki to so many caregivers on individual basis and as group sessions, and also help them during mental health week that we had just a few weeks ago at the hospital. So a lot of people are now wanting to experience Reiki. It first started as curiosity, but now they've stayed for the experience and they want more. So I'm very happy to see that, because ultimately, as practitioners, our role is to create awareness and to educate the masses about this wonderful energy healing modality, because it forms a part of complementary medicine and integrative medicine. So it, it does really help. It's beneficial. And with the feedback that I've received from my caregivers, you can see that it
That's
does help.
fantastic. That's wonderful. So it's clear that Reiki has been a huge part of your journey through COVID and
Yes,
the pandemic and after.
yes.
Is there anything else that you might want to share with people about how you and your team now are, like, what kind of things have carried over from the pandemic, like different situations, the way that, is there still a distance keeping generally in the hospital? Do you know what I mean? Like, how has life in the hospital changed since, do you see what I mean? Like the things that have
Yeah,
happened in the hospital since COVID.
I think a sense of normalcy has returned. People are now just getting back to the usual routine. People obviously have now started to work out more, so hit the gym more. People have started to eat well. People have started to look after themselves in terms of the emotional and mental well-being. I've seen um, a huge impact of that. Um, in terms of keeping distance, people do tend to be a bit more careful about that. Yes, people do keep distances as well. Of course, in certain areas of the hospital, we still have to wear masks, considering that we do deal with fragile patients in the ICU, immunocompromised patients. So within hospital, in clinical areas, we still do wear masks, but in non-clinical areas, we don't have to. Um, I think it's business as usual now. All the I must say all the departments are in full function, fully. They're all fully practicing. So it's all hands on decks, and it's all going ahead full force.
Great. So one more question on this. When you have a COVID patient in the hospital now, how has the protocol changed since the initial event? And what's the emotion around that now?
Um, People still have maintained the protocol, um, and I believe um, I think there's more compassion and more empathetic approach to how we deal with patients with that modality. Um, Rules are still in place where COVID patients are concerned. So I don't believe the rules have loosened on that part for certain reasons. Um, so I think, yeah, I think that's about it.
Okay, great. So this has been a wonderful chat. I just want to now let me bullet point some of your conversation. That it's very important. Clearly, Reiki has been a huge part of your self-care and your sharing with others, helping to get through the emotional and even physical exhaustion, I would imagine, during that time when things were really up in the air. kind of go with the flow, right? As you said, the rules continue to change, and to just be able to keep up with that and breathe, meditate, take your self-care seriously, be sure that you are doing the right thing for you. Also, that the camaraderie during that time was very important. The teamwork and the mutual support between you and your colleagues. And so what else have I left out?